This video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you're heading out on a casual photo walk, chances are you're going to be using one of these four focal lengths. If you're like me, choice paralysis can make choosing just one focal length a very hard decision. If you go for a wider focal length like these two lenses, you might find yourself wishing that you'd chosen something longer if you do see compositions that require a tighter crop. But then on the other hand, if you go for those longer lenses, it can be very restrictive and you end up missing out on what could be really great shots. So today I'm going to try a little experiment that you at home can easily try too. Enter the zoom lens. So I've popped this zoom lens on my D700. So I will be shooting digital for this experiment. And that is because we're going to do a little tally of which focal length was most preferred over this walk to hopefully ascertain which focal length is the one that I am most suited to, gravitate towards, and would be great for my casual style walk around photo walks. This is an experiment that you at home can do as well. All you need is a digital camera. Most of them will record the metadata like the focal length, and you obviously need a zoom lens, and zoom lenses often get a bad rap, and they're something that I actually really like using and used to use a lot on the channel. So pick one up if you don't have one, if you want to try this experiment, or maybe see if you can borrow one off someone. See how you like using a zoom lens, because I do think that we underestimate them a lot and they can be really great. And then you too can try this out at home and see actually what focal length is best for you and what you're using, because sometimes we get informed by what other people are saying, like use a 50mm or use this lens or this lens, but that might not actually be the best lens for you. Okay, so I've got my D700 and my 24-85 zoom lens, and I am ready to go on my photo walk. So I'll see you guys there. Sounds so snappy. Trying to not look down at the focal length so I don't get that in my head. I'm just taking the photo, zooming, and then we'll go through all the metadata at home and then ascertain which one is the one I used the most. So that's part of the challenge. I do think having a zoom lens makes you maybe like more lazy. I'm remembering now using it being like, I used to use them all the time, and then when I switched to primes, I was like, oh, I have to like move myself a lot, which I didn't like. And I feel like now I do like that, because now I'm like doing it instinctively, but realizing I don't need to because I can just zoom, which obviously you don't want to zoom if you don't have to because of like image quality. But yeah, it's a totally different shooting experience doing it. And I'm really interested to see what focal length I'm favoring. Have a feeling it's probably on the tighter side. I haven't been looking, but just, yeah, from what I've been doing and the kind of crops I go for. Obviously this experiment is going to be different for everybody. Like, you know, if you shoot wider things, it's going to be different to how I shoot, but I just really like a tight crop
and making things look a little bit more abstract, like this palm tree here with the building. But then I took that from the other side and it looked a lot better wider. So it's, yeah, it just depends what the scene calls for, I guess. So it wasn't enough to have one challenge. We are doing 2 challenges today. Lux is shooting with our TT Artisans 56mm 1.8 lens. Normally we would shoot with something like an 18mm that gives a lot of context and shows the scene, obviously, because that's kind of, I guess, more traditional of what you would do in a video. You guys want to see where I am. But the 56mm on the X-T4 is effectively like an 85mm. So pretty tight. I was like, keep walking up to him to talk to him and he's like, I'm like this close to you. So just have to be careful with that. But it's interesting, I think, to push yourself with focal length. It just really changes everything. Like it's like such a small change, but it really, really, really changes your videography, photography, whatever it is. So comment below and let us know if you like this and if you're like vibing the tighter crops in video format as well as the photos I'm taking. So many good things. I don't know if anyone else does this, but comment below and let me know if you do. But I always like hold my breath when I'm taking a photo. So like trying to pull focus or get focus or whatever. I'm like, and then if I've like taken a lot of photos, I'm like just when I do shoots with people, like I'm always like so out of breath. It's a really bad habit, but yeah. Got a really good composition, like putting this building in front of that building, and like this one looks a lot more new, so I really like that like juxtaposition. And Surface is so great for photography like this because everything's a little bit like run down and there's a lot of scenes that I really like photographing, like this orange tow bar thing behind me, whatever that is, and like backs of restaurants and car parks and stuff like that are places that I always find so many like lines and angles and compositions and sort of found objects and stuff like that. So those are all the things I like photographing more so than your beautiful places or like the beach. This photo I just took here, I'll probably get told off because it's a hotel, just the epitome of what I'm looking for when I'm out on a photo walk. And it can be anywhere really, but sometimes it's quite hard to find these things. So you really have to kind of just open your eyes up and look around. But yeah, just the way that that piece of the roof or whatever it is has fallen onto the net down the bottom, like, I guess like kind of a little bit of like humor to it, like a little bit of like sort of absurdity. I see people sort of say that stuff on Instagram for this type of photography. If anyone follows Noice magazine, Noice, they do this really, really well and showcase a lot of photographers that shoot in that minimal kind of humorous like style. So check it out. Here I've done 2 different styles of composition, which I think is like why it's nice to have a zoom. One is like a closer crop of the fridge using like the masking tape on the fridge as sort of, you know, leading lines, and then the yellow on the pavement, and then placing the fridge further down the frame kind of gives a little bit of like negative space and another element to it. This here is another example of like gold, absolute gold. It's like this pipe with the green. We've actually shot some products on this. I don't know what kind of plant vegetation this is, but it's very, very good for photos. Like if you just chuck a bag or something in there and photograph it, it's looked really cool. So people think you need like studios to do cool stuff, but you really don't. You can go out into the world and then that makes it look different too.
So we are back home from our photo walk and it was really fun to shoot the zoom lens and do this experiment. I did towards the end actually kind of accidentally start doing street photography, which was really cool, but it's pretty difficult to do that when someone is filming you, I find, because it's not my usual genre of photography. But that whole strip there was really cool and I definitely will return and take some photos on my own. So it's time to take a look at the results and see which focal length was my favorite. To make this as easy as possible for you to digest and for us to find out the results, we made a little chart. So altogether on this photo walk, I took 89 photos. So what we've done is just place those into 6 different brackets of focal lengths across this chart to see obviously how many photos fell into those brackets. Lux obviously helped me. So clearly on the chart here, you can see that my most preferred bracket was the one that is more like a telephoto focal length, which is unsurprising to me. And if you follow my photography closely, thank you, you will know that I love a tight crop. I love a longer focal length. So that 76 to 85 mil range was definitely my most favored. What was surprising to me though was the amount of photos that ended up in the 46 to 65 range. I have some notes here because I'm very organized. So altogether 38 photos from the walk ended up in this 46 to 65 range, which surprised me because I thought the one just down from the longest focal length would be preferred because I guess I thought, I'm getting close to things that would be second in line, but it wasn't. So discussing these results with my partner, trying to work out why the graph looked the way that it did, I think most of the reason why I was taking a lot of shots with that 85mm like long focal length is because I was being lazy because I had a zoom lens. So I could easily have got those shots with like a 50 or a 60mm lens if I'd have just physically moved my body. I didn't need to because I had a zoom. And to be honest, that's why I kind of like zooms and think that, they can be great sometimes. But I think overall, I would be best off with anything ranging from 50mm to 60mm. So when I shoot for work, which to be honest is quite a lot these days, so that does take up a lot of my photography experience, which I still love, is a 40mm lens. I have a 40mm pancake lens. I use that for pretty much everything. And it's really interesting to see that I am definitely not favoring that for my personal work. So there are some differences there, which I find really interesting. And unsurprisingly, the start of the graph is looking very small with the wider focal lengths. That's definitely not my jam at all. But I do really like the photos that I took with those like wider focal lengths as well. So, I think that you have to go with what the scene calls for. But when I look overall, it's definitely kind of like in that middle range. And I think I could get those longer focal length shots with a 50 or a 60mm lens, or I think we have a 55mm somewhere. So we're thinking of like whipping that out. So I love to do experiments and keep things fresh with photography, and I have a YouTube channel, so I'm always looking to do something that's exciting for you guys and is something that you can try at home as well, which I think this is an experiment that you guys could give a go. I would love to know what you land on or like see your results if you want to make your own little graph. But the real reason that I did this experiment is because I have a very exciting personal project coming up that will be shot in the area that I was in for this video. So this was a little bit of a test, I guess, to see how I was shooting in that area, what I was responding to, and how the photos looked. I have been wondering whether or not I should invest in a new camera or lens or both, maybe, for this project. So I thought if I did this, it would give me an idea of like what focal length would be ideal. And then I could have a look at my existing, very large, if you've seen my other video, camera collection, and look at that and go, do I already have something, or do I just need a new lens for a body that I know will do the job? So stay tuned for more on that. But I think this experiment could be really great for you if you're wanting to break out of your comfort zone, uncover something about your work, or you are thinking about buying something and then you realize that you don't really need it. It's kind of like when you go through your closet and then you realize you have like all these great things that you can like whip out or reinvent. So we don't always need to be buying new gear. You could borrow something of someone's as well and try it out before you invest in it. But I really think that this experiment was just so much fun. And it also reinvigorated my love for zoom lenses too. And that's something I used to champion a lot on the channel. So I'm definitely going to be whipping that out because it was just so easy and fun and like carefree and like, woo, zoom. So whenever I shoot digital on the channel, I always get comments of people asking how we edited our photos. When I shoot with the D700, I always shoot raw, and then we process everything with my warm film Lightroom preset, which is available on my online store, and that is powered by Squarespace, who are also sponsoring today's video. I've been using Squarespace to level up my presence online for over 2 years now, and I could not recommend them more. If you're watching this, chances are you are a photographer, and Squarespace is the perfect place to create a customizable gallery of your photos with with so many easy drag and drop templates to choose from. You can have a professional looking gallery and website set up in minutes. Something that I love for my website is the asset library on Squarespace, which stores all of my content so I can easily access it. I can make changes to my website, give it a little freshen up. Having my own website and corner of the internet has really carved out such a great space for my creativity and my professional work. With my contact form that was super easy to set up and is also customizable was really great for me. I am getting a lot more client inquiries now, and using everything on Squarespace to design with their Fluid Engine technology just feels so seamless and easy, even for someone like me who is definitely not a web designer. I can also sell my products and services and offer my customers flexible payments, which is really important to me. I have things like my Lightroom preset, digital products, and even services that people can book in for, and setting all of this up on the online store with Squarespace literally took minutes. So make your mark with your very own Squarespace site today. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/LucyLumen to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain, or use the code LucyLumen at checkout. Big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video, and don't forget to check them out in the link below.